Welcome back to the channel, everyone, and in today's video we are taking a look at Devil May Cry 5. So I just finished Devil May Cry 5 and dude, oh my gosh, I freaking love this game. Like, we'll get into more of the things that I did and didn't like here in just a minute, but dude, what a game. I'm just pleasantly surprised on how good this was compared to what I thought it was going to be. When I first saw this game, a while back when it first came out, I was like, it doesn't really look like something that I would play, and then I saw it for cheap at Walmart one day, and so I bought it, and dude, I've been sleeping on this game. It was so freaking fun. I don't even know what else to say besides I freaking love it. So, just real quick, just to recap on what the story of Devil May Cry is. As far as I know, it's a continuation of Devil May Cry 4. Well, kind of a continuation. It takes place after Devil May Cry 4, but it's got its own story. Basically, you play as our protagonist, Nero. Well, I would say he's our main protagonist. You play 3 other characters. In the base game, you can play as Nero, and then eventually you'll be able to play as a guy named V, and then also Dante, which is from what I understand, is a Devil May Cry classic. That's the guy that you normally played as. And so basically, there's all these, demons coming up from the earth. Somehow the worlds are merging, and also you're fighting this one dude named Urizen, who's the main. He's calling himself the Demon King kind of thing. And so this whole story, you guys are trying to find Urizen, the Demon King, and on the way you encounter many boss fights. Oh, dude, that's another thing, dude. The boss fights in this were always so fun. I'm getting super sidetracked. I'm sorry. But yeah, so you spend this whole time with these 3 main characters going through these demon trees and, all the ruins of Earth, trying to find Urizen, and when you do, you end up fighting him, and you find out that Urizen is actually Virgil, which is Dante's brother, who split himself into 2 halves, and one half was Urizen, the Demon King, and the other half was V, which is the guy that was been with you this whole time. So, kind of interesting, and at the end, you end up fighting Virgil as the last final boss. So that's also super, super fun. Virgil was super cool to play against. That's also something in the new DLC, is that you get to actually play through the main game as Virgil. So I haven't done that yet, but I definitely plan to. So real quick before I get super all over the place, we'll go over some of the things that I didn't particularly like, and then we'll get into some of the things that I absolutely love, because there wasn't things that I just really liked, but I freaking loved them. Oh, dude, I'm already getting sidetracked. Okay, so first things that I didn't particularly like. We'll go with that first. So one of the things that I didn't necessarily like was the level design. We'll get to some of that here in just a minute, but that's really the only main thing that I didn't necessarily like, is that levels like this where you go through the city were all fun, and going up through the tree was fun, but there's a few inside, I forget what they actually call it, but it's basically a tree that's coming up from the demon world up into Earth, and it's coming through a portal. That's how all these demons are coming in. They're coming through the portal, and that's one of the things that happen at the end, is that you close the portal kind of thing. But other than that, that's just the main thing that I didn't necessarily like, was just level design. So the first couple times was fine, but a lot of the levels seemed really similar, although they were totally different. It's just the aesthetic was we're going through the tree, so it's the same environment over and over again. So, and that didn't happen every single time, but there was quite a few missions. All the missions where you're going up the tree were very similar. And honestly, guys, that's really the only thing that I absolutely did not like. Everything else is kind of nitpicky stuff, and not necessarily a flaw with the game, but just my personal preference. And going into the things that I really liked about this game, man, dude, if I'm being brutally honest, other than a few levels kind of being, kind of the same, I freaking loved everything about this game. I really, oh, dude, I can't even explain how much I enjoy this game. Like I said earlier, it was one of those games where it didn't look, when I first saw the trailer, I was like, oh yeah, I mean, it looks kind of cool, but you know, I've heard of like Devil May Cry in the past, and it was never really my thing, so I was like, I'm not gonna mess with it. But dude, I freaking loved everything about this game. Like, the combat is freaking fun and satisfying. They have like this almost like level. They call it like stylish points, and the more combos or variety of combos that you do to take down your enemies, the better stylish rank you'll get. And so it was always really fun and addicting trying to get that, I think they call it super sexy, stylish something or whatever. So, I don't know, it's the triple S's, and it's the highest rank that you can get. And it's not always easy, but dude, I just loved the combat. Playing the different characters was always super fun. Like, Nero was fun to play as. Literally, Dante and V, like, all the characters were extremely fun to play as. Another thing that I really liked, especially with Dante, is that you get to the Sin Devil form, where you actually turn into your, like, this demon form, because Dante and Virgil, and then later in the game you find out also Nero, they're all half demon, half human kind of thing. So it was really fun seeing, you know, all the different forms. And another thing that's really fun is that all the weapon variety is insane. I freaking love it. Like Dante, yes, he has the Sin Devil form, but he also has freaking nunchucks. He's got a freaking sword. He even has a freaking motorcycle that you can split into two, and like the tires turn like into like blades, and you just saw people up, dude. It's just, there's so much weapon variety. At least with Dante. Virgil, or not Virgil, I haven't played as Virgil, but I guess V's doesn't have really any weapon. He just has a cane, and Nero just has a sword, and he's got a few other things. So, but every character was just really fun, and I really enjoyed playing as each of those. I would say the easiest one to play as, to get like the highest rank, like the stylish rank, would probably be V. I found it much easier to get like the triple S's and double S's with him, mainly because when you get hit by an enemy, it doesn't matter what like your stylish point is, you always drop 2 letter grades, right? So like if you're fighting and you have an S, you're in the S tier, it's gonna knock you down to a B, and you know, if you're in a B and you get hit again, it's gonna knock you down to a D. So it always knocks you down 2. But with V, you can kind of sit back, because V doesn't actually attack. He like summons demons to attack, kind of thing, or like these shadow monsters, and he could sit back and not get hit and just, you know, wail on them from a distance, which is nice. Another thing that I really enjoyed with this game was that the story was fantastic. It was relatively short, story-wise. The game itself wasn't super duper long. It was probably like 25-30 hours. I mean, at least for me, since I was a new player and I didn't know what I was doing, it probably took me about 30 hours. So it was still a decent game, not anything incredibly long. But the story itself wasn't super long, because you kind of play different points of view, which I really liked, because you're always wondering like, oh, what are these other people doing at the same time? For instance, Dante gets hurt and he's, you know, missing kind of thing, and V and Nero are looking for him, and so it kind of shows their point of view of what they're doing, and it'll show like different time stamps. It's like, oh, this is what Dante was doing the same time that you guys were over here doing this, and then all the different characters kind of merge onto one story, like when they all diverge into their own paths. Another thing that I really enjoyed, and I'm pretty sure I already said this, but you know what, I'm just going to say it again because I loved it so much. The freaking combat was so amazing, dude. It was extremely satisfying, and I'm pretty sure I actually just said all this stuff, but it doesn't matter, dude. I freaking loved it. It was so fun and addicting, and the combat like never just got boring. There's never a time where you're going through the levels and you're like, you know what, this is kind of boring, or it had like a low point, because there's plenty of games that, even games that I thought were great, that weren't always so, you know, pulling you in. And I really, really enjoyed that about this game. There was never a time where I wanted to play something else. I had a fantastic time. the entire time playing this game. It was awesome. At least for combat too. Another thing that I really liked is that all kind of goes with like the combat and the enemies and stuff like that is the boss fights, dude. All the boss fights were fantastic. I freaking loved them all. Nothing was extremely challenging. Now I say that, you know, only knowing that I only played it on the default difficulty, so I know that the higher up, like I don't even know what they were called, like Son of Sparta or something like that. I'd have to look up what the actual difficulties were called, but I just played on the normal, and none of the bosses were extremely difficult. I don't think I actually had to either died or healed with like the golden orbs until like the very end boss fight with which was Virgil. But yeah, dude, all the bosses were incredibly fun. Some of my favorite ones, obviously Virgil was the best boss fight. I extremely loved him, and I actually can't wait to actually play as him as a character, just because his boss fight was so fun. He had so many different like things that he threw at you, and the part where he can, you know, make a ghost version of himself, his demon self or whatever, and now you have two people fighting you. I don't know, dude. It was just freaking crazy. It was awesome. And then there was a part in the Virgil fight where he kind of like slows down time, and then he like slashes like a million different times, and then sheaths the Yamato, and then like all like the glass kind of like shattered, like it shows like the sword. Like, I don't know, dude. It's just amazing. All the boss fights in this game were fantastic. I loved all of them. Some of them were weird, but you know, it was awesome, and I freaking loved it. Yeah, so guys, this Devil May Cry 5 was fantastic. This was my first, like I said before, my first ever Devil May Cry game ever, and I was just pleasantly surprised. Like, I was actually blown away. This game was freaking amazing. I had so many times where I couldn't put the controller down because it was just so fun. Now, if I were to give this my personal rating out of 10, honestly, guys, this is a very high game for me. I would personally give it a 9.5 out of 10. I mean, the only thing that I think for me that kept it from a 10 out of 10 was, like I said earlier, some of the level design. The variety was kind of the similar. You know, kind of felt like you were doing the same level, just multiple times. But other than that, you know, there was just nothing really that I absolutely hated about this game. It was awesome. Combat was fun. Story was intriguing. The boss fights were incredible. And, dude, I can't actually wait to play it again, but as Virgil this time. I know there's some new levels that you can play as Virgils, like specific ones. So, dude, if you guys haven't played this game, freaking go play it. I'm dead serious. Like, out of all the games I played this last year, there's games that were good, and I knew that they were going to be good, and maybe that's why I'm like so like blown away, is because I didn't think that this game was going to be as good as it was. I honestly thought it was going to be like a 7 or an 8, you know, which aren't bad games, but I just was not expecting it to be almost a freaking 10 to me. Anyways, guys, I am freaking going on a rant about this game. Like I said, 9.5 out of 10 for me. If you guys haven't played this game, freaking just go play it. You'll enjoy it, I promise. It's so fun. Anyways, guys, we're going to end the video. Thanks, everyone, for tuning into my Devil May Cry 5 review. Yeah, just if you guys enjoyed the content, please consider becoming a subscriber. I'm trying to hit my goal of 200 subs. We are super close. I think the last I checked, I don't have my phone in front of me, I think I'm at like 191. So we're like super close. Big shout out to everyone that watches my videos, takes the time out of the day. You guys are freaking awesome, whether you're a subscriber or not. I appreciate it. You guys are awesome. And we'll catch you guys on the next one.